They repeat what others do instead of creating things. They go, if everybody does this way, I will do the same. Why? Because it's safe. 70% of shopping decisions come from what others are going to do. Does it mean that everybody likes white color? No, it means that white color becomes popular, so everyone else buys white color. Which color is your favorite? That's the question I'm asking myself, so that I don't need to compare myself to others, but I invent myself. See, I've never heard about giraffe who wants to be a rhino. Never. I've never heard about a cat who says, being a dog would be cool. So there's an important question here. In many religious systems, the most important question there exists. Who are you? And the only way to answer this question is before you become, to unbecome who you're not. And there is honor in being in front of you, because deep down, behind all the veneers and curtains of being from Poland or from England or from Europe or Africa or America, behind different colors that we all have and behind different clothes that we use, behind the ideas of what it means to be a woman or a man, there is a human being that truly connects and needs the same thing. We all need to have ideas of who we are becoming. So ask yourself a question, the first and important, so that you use the power of this meeting and carry on with your lives later on. Instead of going into an emotional high and later going down, grow organically. Everything that grows too fast and is not a human fetus or cancer is not growing organically and will be destroyed. If there's a man who grows his muscles very fast, probably his liver and his heart one day will be in trouble. If someone makes money in the lottery, 95% of those people after 2 years will be in debt. Why? Because there has been a world created, but mentality was not good enough. So create mentality so that it can attract the world in which you want to live. What do you want to live after you die? Once you're dead, once your body goes into the grave, what do you want to leave behind? What do you truly want to mean in this world? But I'm nobody special. I'm just a regular human being. Yes, so was Desmond Tutu. So was Nelson Mandela when he grew in Soweto, in Johannesburg, and he didn't even realize that being frustrated with the fact that they divide due to apartheid black people and white people in buses will frustrate him so bad that he will decide to fight against it. So then when they put him into jail for 30 years, instead of committing a suicide or anything else, he came out and he destroyed constraints and ideas which were wrong. Then Michael Jordan was nobody special as well. He was in high school and they say, well, you know what? When he applied to play basketball in his school, they say, well, you're nobody special, you're not going to be qualified. So they rejected him. Then he went to his mother, to his leader, to his mentor and says, I was rejected, I will never play basketball. And she says, use this fear to show them that they were wrong. 30 years later, when he has created as an individual the benchmark of what it means to play divine basketball, he was still playing to prove to his trainer who rejected him that the trainer was wrong. He was nobody special. But then Lech Wałęsa, the one who destroyed communism in Europe, was just an electrician. He was born, he ate bread, he drank water, maybe vodka every now and then, who knows? We do have really good vodkas. That was product placement, by the way. And then one day, suddenly there's a situation. Why? Because he lived in a constant state of creation. He invented himself. He imagined himself. He said, even though I am a human, I will behave as if it was not true. See, animals cannot do this. My dog cannot imagine itself to be someone else later on. But I can imagine Mateusz in 3 years being richer, looking better, being more happy, and I can ask myself a question, how do I become that person? And start realizing certain actions and pursuing certain dreams to finally become it. And later on, have another dream, and another dream, and another dream, and stay hungry all the time. Because there's curiosity deep down inside all of us of, are we really living our true and deep potential? And you know the answer. You're not. You're not living what you truly can become. You're not earning what you really can earn. You're not smiling in the way you really can. Not every day you're like this. Not every day. You know you can be more. How to be more? Here's the psychological part of me, which says you need tools. Apart from mentality and the inspiration, you need tools. And you need to practice and repeat and practice and repeat, and you will be surprised. Later you need to practice and repeat. So that you practice and repeat again, and suddenly you get where you want to go. When are you in flow states? In which moments are you not thinking about what's happening, but you're projected and you're canalizing something more and something better? Look at me. Do you think I'm thinking right now? I'm thinking and analyzing what to say, how to behave, or what to do. Do you think that these hands I'm moving on purpose, or maybe they are moved by themselves? See, there is a state of minds which is called organic, in which thoughts and body connect together. But it only happens when fish is inside water. What happens when you take fish out of water, put it on the tree, and say, you're not good enough? And the fish says, I'm sorry, I will improve. If you criticize a fish on the tree, or you give compliments to fish on the tree, it will not change anything. The fish should not be on the tree. I cannot be clever with everyone. If there's someone and I tell them about my product and I say, you can change your life, and they look at me as if I was an idiot, and they say, you're manipulating me, if I surround myself with those people, instead of growing, every day I will become less and less and less. And finally, I will commit a spiritual suicide. Instead of living and realizing my true potential, I will start believing that Mateusz one day can be someone better. And there's this odd, amazing feeling which makes me feel so honored to be here. The same feeling I had when I was working with one very famous actor, and I saw him on TV as a child. And I went to his place. I was already a famous coach. I went to his place. I sit on a sofa, and he says, so will you help me? And I say, please shut up for a while. And he says, excuse me? I say, just shut up. Give me 2 minutes. So we sit like this, and he thinks that I'm cuckoo, you know. I'm something wrong with me. And I say, no, it's okay. And he says, why did you do that? And I say, I had to spend 2 minutes to incorporate and accept the fact that this is not a dream, it's reality. I had to, because I saw you on TV, you were such a hero for me, I was not even imagining that one day I can be like you. Just give me 2 minutes. I need to accept that this is really happening. I need to realize that this boy, that nightmare of being worse, of feeling inferior, of being somebody worse than others, is gone. And I can truly, really create the life that I want to have and I want to be. And then he says, so will you help me? And I say, you don't even imagine how. And I did help him. I did solve a problem for him. But at that stage, I was not a small boy anymore, even though I do remember that small boy. At that stage, I was my own creation, a subject of what I have imagined. It was an image. It didn't exist. Just like the chair on which you're sitting. Just like this shirt which I'm wearing. Just like this presentation 3 days ago. It did not exist. I imagined it. Somebody imagined a chair, just like you imagine yourself. And then you take the first step, and the second step, and suddenly the image becomes reality. What's the difference between faith and knowledge? Knowledge is always about what you know. Knowledge is always about past. Knowledge will not surprise you. Knowledge is what is. Knowledge is descriptive. It describes reality. This is not the only thing I'm interested in. I need faith. What is faith? Faith is always about the future. Faith is always the bridge to something you're imagining that doesn't exist yet. And guess what? Once You imagine, once it becomes reality, faith becomes knowledge again. And then somebody says, I knew it from the very beginning. And you say, well, I didn't. I had to believe. I had to train a different muscle. When do people follow your advice? Is it when you cook, or they run away when you cook? Or they are very nice and say, that was lovely. And you say, oh, they're being incongruent, maybe I shouldn't cook. Is it when you sing? Because when I sing, I will show you what kind of faces you have. It goes into... And see, this is international. A reaction of, please stop singing. So I don't sing. Maybe because this is not when people want to listen to me. But when I start coaching, when I start talking, when I start being fish inside my water, this is my tongue. This is where I feel secure. This is when I feel at home. I can talk to Brazilians in Portuguese. I can talk to Italians in Italian. I can talk to Polish in Polish. I can talk to you in English. It doesn't really matter because I'm not the one who's talking. It just goes through. This is a flow state, and this only happens if you have right people around you. It will never happen when fish is surrounded by birds, and birds say, you're ugly. Do you know the story about ugly duckling? There's a trick in this story. It's a lie. It was never a duckling. It was not a duckling. So you cannot say it was ugly. It was not a duckling. You know what? Dog is such an ugly cat. Yes, it is. You know what? Giraffe is a horrible elephant. And then people go into criticism, not because there's something wrong about them, but because they haven't created reality in which they can be fish inside water. Surround yourself with the correct people who really want to follow your advice. Some others just don't. As a German philosopher would put it, truth goes through 3 stages. The first stage is everybody laughs at it. Second stage, everybody attacks it. The third stage, everybody accepts it. And then they say, I always knew it from the very beginning. Well, do you have your own truth? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You do have your own truth. What would you like to be doing for the rest of your life? If you stop functioning, doing anything else, what would you like to be doing for the rest of your life? Is it about your work? Is it about your profession? Is it about your hobby? Is it about your family? What would you like to be doing for the rest of your life? Where does time cease to exist? In which moment don't you look at your watch? In which moment don't you think when the weekend is going to come, just like that man who has a hangover, who doesn't really love weekends, but he hates the week? It's like saying, I am rich. Why? Because I'm not in debt. It's like saying, I am healthy. Why? Because I'm not sick. No, being rich and not being in debt are 2 different things. Being beautiful and not being ugly are 2 different things. Some people will just passively react to the reality which is coming. Some others will proactively construct it. And once you proactively start constructing reality, guess what happens? Some people come and say, I love your reality. I want to join you. Be my leader. Guess what happens 1 day later? There's some people who say, I don't like your reality. Please stop doing that. And this is the moment when you have to have a divine connection. Do you remember? In a very nice way, of course, depending on the culture where you come from. And the 3rd day, someone comes and says, I want to join you. And the 4th day, someone says, please stop doing what you're doing. And it will not finish. It will just be like this way. The more you grow, the bigger the shadow becomes. The more self-confident you are, the more arrogant you can become as well. The more rich you are, the more people want to borrow your money. Did you notice that? Suddenly, family members come from you don't know where, and they say, wow, haven't seen you for a long time. I heard you're rich. I believe in a communism idea of sharing. You're rich, I'm not. Let's divide. Suddenly you go, oh boy, so there is a shadow part as well. Of course there is. But this is the point. People are not afraid of the shadow part. If anyone here is a parent, you're not afraid of losing your life for your child. People are not afraid of fears. People are afraid of their potential, who they truly can become. This is what we are afraid of. Because if you realize that you're a loving human being who is capable of being a leader for groups of thousands of people, if you realize that you can have a beautiful, perfect body which you've always dreamt of, if you realize that you can wake up in the morning and smile to a person next to you whom you truly, deeply love and you don't want to exchange for any other model, then you will realize, am I living the way I should? Is it my true potential? And I have never, ever, having worked with so many cultures, heard anyone say, this is enough. There's never enough, because there's always the curiosity and fascination inside of you. There's something more in you. There's something more in you. I know there's something more in you. I know there's something more in you that you haven't shown me yet. If I see you for 5 minutes, what will I be left with? Give me 5 minutes with you. Will you repeat me something I can read in books? I'm not interested. I want to know what you feel. I want to know who you are. I want to know what's different about you. I don't want you to give me theories. I don't want you to give me something that I can see on TV that doesn't interest me. I want you. You are special. You are different. You're not a person like anyone else. There's a code in you. There's DNA which is different. The structure of retina is different. The lines on your hands are different. How about your stories? How about your experiences? If I meet you for 5 minutes, what kind of problems will I be saved from thanks to your suffering? See, there is a concept why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because when I do something stupid and when I suffer, other people don't have to. And isn't that what we all dream of as parents? Isn't it truly your dream that your children don't repeat your mistakes? That you go through certain suffering and you say, you don't have to do that? What takes years for someone else can take minutes of hours for somebody else. So once you become a leader, once you become a pioneer, later on, people don't have to suffer the way you did. They will have their own sufferings, and they will save other generations